What has the world come to when the funniest film I have seen all year is a documentary? Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and yes, if you follow me on X, then you know that yesterday I went and saw Am I a Racist? And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I ain't exactly the biggest Matt Walsh fan. Done several videos mocking the guy, and don't get me wrong, while we do agree on several issues politically, I'm not a fan of his thoughts on pop culture. I'm not a fan of his methodology. And all in all, look, dude's just not my cup of tea. But I was real interested in this film. So, yeah, I guess we're going to do a review for it. Before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. And am I racist? Well, first of all, to answer you guys' question, I mean, I don't think so. Even after watching the movie, I really don't have an answer. It doesn't do what I thought it would do. I went in just like, oh, hey, this is going to be a documentary about race relations in America, and it's sort of about that, but if we're being honest, it's actually just more of a documentary exposing the racial grift, you know, the companies and corporations that profit off of racism. And there is, you know, sort of exposing just individuals that propagate, you know, anti-white racism, full-on racism and whatnot, but it actually does a much better job of showing there's an entire monetization culture behind this, and to the amount of money it makes, which is staggering, but it doesn't do it in the same vein as, you know, What is a Woman? For those of you that saw What is a Woman, that more or less was a serious documentary, and it's one that, frankly, I really enjoyed, despite, again, not being a Matt Walsh fan. I have liked his film project. I liked What is a Woman. I like this, but this isn't anything remotely similar to What is a Woman. While What is a Woman, like I said, is taken seriously, this is a comedy pretending to be a documentary. Or maybe it's a documentary pretending to be a comedy. I almost say it's pretending to be a comedy because I did laugh. In fact, not only did I audibly laugh, the whole theater laughed. And I would say half the theater, give or take, was full, which honestly isn't bad for a 4:30 p.m. showing on a Tuesday after the movie's already been out all weekend and all the prime individuals that were probably going to see this have already seen it. There was also a lot more diversity in the screening than I thought. Because I was very interested, and it was a small theater, sat maybe 60 people, and it was about half full. You know, not including me and who I went with. I counted 28 people, so I don't know how many it would seat, but again, the place was about half full. Almost half the audience was women. In fact, there were women that were coming in without their male partners, assuming they even had male partners. I wasn't expecting that part. I was definitely thinking this is going to be a 100% male-dominated movie. No, the audience was, there were, again, assuming my count was correct, because I couldn't get everybody, but if my count was correct, there was only 3 more men in the audience than there were women, which is, I didn't see that coming whatsoever. One woman was, in fact, a black woman, and then there was also a handful of Latinos that came in. I think the Latinos were all male. So, yeah, predominantly middle-aged white couples, you know, husbands and wives, and, you know, maybe a mistress or two, I'm not sure. Either way, diverse audience for a film called Am I Racist? I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm pretty proud of that. But yeah, basically, Matt Walsh goes undercover and tries to just expose these sort of racial grifts. And he doesn't even start by being undercover. He starts by just doing like what he did in What is a Woman, sitting down with individuals who, you know, have a part to play in this, asking them questions. And then, once he realizes that his name is, he's got a bit more notoriety than he initially thought, he decides to go with the elaborate disguise that you've probably seen in the trailers or seen, you know, the photos of on the internet. And he commits to the bit. Let me tell you, he commits to the bit. He plays an insufferably woke character. He plays the kind of character that I think some of the more ardent viewers of SNH think I am in real life. And it is so funny because anytime black women are speaking, or liberal white women are, you know, they're doing their thing, they're shilling, they're preaching about how bad, you know, whiteness is and racists are, he will interject and cut them off to celebrate what they're saying. He will champion what they're saying to a hilarious degree, like, you know, mansplaining to these black women about how correct they are, and you know, being just a complete and utter troll. It is kind of amazing, but it also does still serve the purpose of, you know, showing, hey, these people are charging $30,000 for a dinner party for women only to be told that you will never not be racist. You might just be slightly more racist than, your white male counterpart. It's kind of eye-opening for anyone that's never experienced this or doesn't know what is going on behind the scenes. But that being said, if you're watching my content or you're watching, any content similar to mine, especially if you're already a Daily Wire viewer, you're not really going to learn anything new. It's going to be like a straight-up entertainment piece. And because it's an entertainment piece, I'm actually kind of impressed at some of the things that folks are saying on Rotten Tomatoes. So, of course, this is Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, there's no tomato meter for a reason. It's not telling us what the critics are thinking of this film. I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. However, there are critic reviews down here, including one from Jeremy Johns. If you watched my stream the other day, you know that I was beyond, maybe surprised isn't the right word, but intrigued that Jeremy Johns would review this, because Jeremy Johns is a pretty based film reviewer, but he's like normie based. He's very much just, I love movies, I love film, I love talking about it. I'm going to make videos exclusively about it, not get invested in the culture war, and if stuff about, Ahsoka or The Acolyte is terrible, I'm gonna say it. But if a movie that is, obscenely woke comes out, and I still find it to be a good movie, I'm gonna say it. I really like Jeremy Johns' delivery, but I didn't expect him to review this, and honestly, his review was actually very similar to mine. But we do have the popcorn meter, 1,000 verified audience ratings at 99%. Now, for those of you that know, Rotten Tomatoes is reviewed on aggregate, so that means 99% of the individuals that have rated this are rating it positively. It doesn't mean it's actually a 99% out of 100, it just means 99% of the reviewers are reviewing it positively. And I think I would review it positively as well. If I had to give it a number score, definitely a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7. It actually does have a bit of a lull. It's an hour and a half long. It feels about 20 to 30 minutes longer than that. The beginning, the first third is great, and the final third is equally great. That middle portion is a bit of a slog, but that middle portion is probably the most serious in terms of what, trying to expose what is actually happening in this industry that is able to make money off of propagating fake and outrage nonsense about how bad race is. That being said, even when it was quote-unquote boring, the information is still good information. I had just grown accustomed to it being kind of a comedy film, and then for it to sort of lay off that for a solid 20-30 minutes before going back into being a comedy, it just wasn't well paced, I would say. But then you look at some of these critic reviews. You got Wade Major. You're not getting anywhere on the subject, but it's funny. Is he making his point? I think he's too divisive a figure to be persuasive. I agree with this. I don't know who Wade Major is. Film Week, KPCC, NPR Los Angeles. Now, frankly, such a nuanced, fair, and balanced take coming out of LA is almost impressive, and he gave it a fresh score. Yeah, I truly don't think that anyone that's ardent Democrat or they hate Matt Walsh or whatnot is really going to find him to be convincing. I talked about how I don't like Matt Walsh, but I already sort of knew all this information, so he didn't need to convince me. I don't know how much I like or dislike him would have affected my perception of the film, just because it didn't really give me any new information. But at the end of the day, I still would agree with Wade Major's take. Jeremy Johns, it made me laugh. Again, that's the whole reason I went and saw it. I watched Jeremy. I wasn't going to see this film mainly because there's just I didn't even realize it was a theatrical release. I knew this movie was coming, but I thought it was like a Daily Wire Plus sort of subscription movie like all their others have been. And then when he said it came to theaters, I was like, shit, is it in a theater near me? And lo and behold, it was. Multiple showings. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go. And it made so many individuals in the audience laugh. I was, again, beyond surprised. Matthew Pejovic, Matt Walsh swiftly and entertainingly exposes the race industry for the crazy charlatan grift that it is. This is an accurate review. I also don't necessarily know that this is going to be a convincing review because it has sort of the same problems as, really what I'm doing here, which is, well, yeah, Matt Walsh, he's divisive, and him being divisive is gonna turn folks off. But again, you could argue that because he's playing such an over-the-top character, that there are going to be folks that are able to set aside their disdain for Matt Walsh and find it funny like I did. I don't want to just sit here and pretend that I'm the most reasonable, intelligent individual in the room, but I mean, sometimes I am, let's be real. That's why you watch me, because you know that I'm pretty damn close to perfect. Alan Ing, half the audience will laugh, the other half will walk out. That is not true. Only 2 people walked out of my showing, and to be fair, they didn't walk out until the last 10 minutes. Now, the last 10 minutes are incredibly cringe, but not actually because of Matt Walsh. So, yeah, that was strange. But I wouldn't say half would walk out. Only 2 walked out of my showing. Christian Toto, Matt Walsh exposes DEI madness and hysterical overdue takedown. I don't know about that. I think that you're kind of sucking him off, in my opinion. This is, again, all... If you're paying attention, none of this should be new to you, so I wouldn't know that you're exposing it. Avi Offer, a bold, provocative, and outrageously funny documentary, regardless of where you stand politically. Am I Racist will be an eye-opening experience that will change the way you look at anti-racists and racism in America. From NYC Movie Guru, again, another NYC. We had LA earlier, and we got New York now. Are these cities slowly becoming more based, or are these individuals just trapped and trying to change things from the inside? I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I recommend you guys see it. I really do. Maybe you don't go to the theater for it. I mean, maybe you want to hit the high seas. I would actually recommend the theater experience, because even though it's a documentary, the comedy is so there. It feels like if you would go see an Adam Sandler movie in theaters, then watching this in theaters would be up your alley. You're looking at like that level of equivalency. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know on X, or you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I made nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about, what's going on with the culture war and Matt Walsh, Daily Wire, anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course get involved with over 90 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because I do care about diversity. But only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.